Performed our monthly grease trap inspections. Our operations overview for the month of September, we've performed preventive maintenance on the lift stations and the water plant generators. We've also performed preventive maintenance on all the lift station pumps. TCEQ inspected the City of Prairie View waterways, distribution and collection system on August 23rd, which shows a report that we'll go over here in just a minute. We're also working with FEMA to assist the city in 404 mitigation to receive funding for upgrading the lift stations with surge protection and generator quick connects. We also are waiting for one lift pump at the Brookside lift station to close out the insurance claim, the pending insurance claim, the outstanding insurance claim, put it that way. Also recently provided FEMA with the final quote to install surge protection and quick connects at the lift station and water plant, so we should have an answer back from FEMA here soon. Reason being, here lately with all the storms that we've been having, we did have another surge at 2 of the lift stations, which has shorted the lift pumps, grounded the lift pumps, and we'll have 2 additional insurance claims that we have to deal with. With surge protection, surge arresters, it should absorb most of that current and keep the lift pumps from shorting the ground. So it's imperative that we get those surge arresters installed. Following the operations report, you'll see you have your monthly invoice along with the work order summary showing the work that was done within the month of September. Some lingering August work is also on there. Following the work order summary, you'll see the outstanding alleged violations from the TCEQ inspection. There are 3 violations that are pending that need to be resolved by November 26, 2018. I'm sorry, there's 2. One was the well meter calibration certificates, which we had already submitted, and so they have removed that from the alleged violations. But the other 2 are basically in-house record keeping that we have no control over, but we're willing to assist the city in trying to get that information over to TCEQ. One is the sanitary control easement records for wells 1, 2, and 3, and the other is the completed customer service inspection certificates.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Who's supposed to be keeping? I thought all documentation was being done by your company. Are we just finding out about this? So who's doing it previously?
All compliance documentation related to the facilities which we operate for the City of Prairie View, which we have an emergency contract signed with the City of Prairie View, those documents are provided by USW Utility Group and are kept by USW Utility Group. Customer service inspections, that's done internally. We do not do your customer service inspections.
What about the sanitary control easement?
Sanitary control easement records are provided by the city's engineer. I did reach out to Mr. Leindecker. He said that he would have the sanitary control easement records for water plant 2, but not for water plant 1 or the off-site well.
Right. Did he say why not the others?
He was not the prior engineer.
Pardon?
He was not the engineer.
Years or something?
Right. He was not the. Apparently, he was not the engineer that designed and built water wells 1 and the off-site well.
I guess going back, is this the first time that this has ever been requested, or I will assume in the last 10 years we've had to have a sanitary control easement records for wells 1, 2, and 3. So one, who keeps the documents? Are we missing a year, a month? Like, give us, because we don't have a city engineer for the last 2 months, but I'm assuming they're not asking for 2 months worth of stuff. They're asking for how long? Like the time frame.
Right. The CSIs is for the past 3 years. You have to keep customer service inspections on file for 3 years.
Okay, what about number 2?
And then number 2, your sanitary control easement records, those are provided once the easement is established and the well is being drilled.
And who performs those CSIs?
Your customer service inspections, I'm assuming, what is the name? Veritas or? Veritas, right.
So let's you and I deal with them to see if we can make that happen. They've been with us over 3 years, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, not a problem.
Is there any is there anything else that we may need to make sure that we need to be keeping? Because we've been alleged violation from TCQ, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
So do you have, I'm pretty sure you do this work with other cities.
That's correct.
There may be 10 documents that 5 of the documents your firm does, and the other 5 the city needs to do. Can we get a list of those to just make sure that we're up to date on all these moving forward, so we're not in this situation? Is that hard to provide, or is that?
No. What I can do is I can provide the 290 regs, which is what TCEQ goes by whenever they do an inspection. So what they pull from the 290 regs is entirely up to that inspector. Most of the time, they do have a list of certain areas that they're going to inspect at the city or at the utility. This particular inspector was out of Waco due to a lot of the inspectors are tied up with the Harvey work that's going on. So they're reaching out to some of their other regions to get them caught up on inspections. So this is something that this particular inspector was looking for, the sanitary control easements. But what I can do is provide the 290 regs, which is everything that TCEQ goes by whenever they're doing an inspection on your water system.
So we just need these couple of things, but here's what I don't understand. They're referencing a dental clinic.
Yes, sir.
This is the first time in all those years that dental clinic's been there, that somebody's inspected and saying something wasn't there, that.
That's correct. Anytime you have potential cross connection, you need to have a backflow preventer.
Right. What I'm saying is, you're saying all of the previous inspectors did not check this dental clinic. Because what it doesn't have, it hasn't had since its inception.
I understand. Apparently not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But now, where are we with that? Do we need to install the backflow, or is it done?
No, there's a lot of items here that we've helped the city, assisted the city, and
So
getting
that's
taken.
done?
Yes, sir. We've
Okay.
gotten the backflow installed for the city.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
Two questions. One, with all the preventive maintenance that we see listed as far as bills, this is preventive maintenance that's done how often? So, you know, when we say we service lift station, and I'm assuming you says pull the pumps for preventive maintenance.
That's correct.
Some of these lift stations where they've been going out, or we've had to do major things in the last year. For preventive maintenance, is this for 6 to 8 months? Is this for a year? So we're tracking this, but also if we did preventive maintenance and it costs us this amount, hopefully that we don't have to.
How often is that required?
Yes, sir. Okay, so there's two parts to your question. One, how often do we need to do the preventive maintenance? And let me just remind you, a lot of these facilities are new. We have rehabbed these facilities, so the last thing we want to do is neglect the equipment that we put in there, the new equipment. Okay, so for lift stations, you see them set up on a quarterly preventive maintenance schedule, where the lift pumps are pulled, they're deragged, they're greased, and they're set back. The cords are checked to make sure there's the wiring exposed in the cords, and they're put back in the holes. Okay, and yes, that does prevent catastrophic failure to where the city is in a bind again, having to pay a lot of expense on replacing major pumps and control panels and issues.
The other question, I guess, so quarterly, that's mandatory. I think, is that a little much, or is that just is that regular, or is this?
No, that's according to your O&M manual, your operational maintenance.
And so what is this?
All the equipment that's installed out at the facility comes with an operations and maintenance manual. Your control panel has an operations and maintenance manual, how often your wiring and your connections should be checked. Your lift pumps come with an operations and maintenance manual, how often they should be greased and rewound, or the impellers should be checked. So this is all according to the operations and maintenance manual.
Just give us information about the contract. We're the contract. we've asked to look at the contract, because we're under emergency contract.
That was my question, because I remember for quite some time, I have asked a couple times about you guys' contract, and I do think that we are still underneath the emergency contract.
Yes,
Yes.
and as Mr. Boston stated, they're finally wrapping up all the FEMA stuff that they've been in and taking care of all that stuff with us from the beginning, working with Judge Alexander and stuff like that. So yeah, we're about out of that, but you're just wrapping up. I think that's on your report.
I've actually provided the emergency operations contract. Y'all asked me to forward it to Ms. Dickey, and Ms. Dickey was going to forward it to council.
Okay, send it to me and I'll send it to council.
Sure, not a problem.
Because I guess we know what, so we want to see what we currently have, but the goal is whether, we don't want to base what we're going to move forward based on FEMA or anything else. We need to be looking at a renewed or updated contract that's not an emergency contract because we're paying extra. We need to see a regular contract so we can negotiate and move forward. Now, we'll still pay on what the emergency contract is, but we want to get the emergency contract is what we're currently under, but whatever the new contract, a regular contract for your services, that's the information we want to see to be able to look at and
Yeah,
move forward.
so send us both.
Okay, right. What I can do is I can send you our scope of services, all the services we provide, and you'll find that we provide a wide range of services.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and get that sent over to you. Moving on along, you'll see that there's a few photos. October 7th, running into October, I just wanted to bring this up. It won't be until the next council meeting that you'll see this reflected on the summary. But October 7th, there was a force main coming from the Dooley Road, Anderson lift station in front of, next to the post office. Yes, the community center, yes, sir. That force main ended up having a tear in the PVC line going to the university. This was an emergency repair that USW Utility Group made. That was a 10-inch force main line, so you can see there that we got it shut off, we got it dug up, and got it repaired in a timely manner to where we weren't backing up any of the residents for the city of Prairie.
Yeah. 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, most of them are asleep.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a blessed day.
Ma'am,
Yes.
good question. Not for Mr. Bostic. For the city council reports, I know a departmental report, they just come up and say what they have to say and whatnot. For city council reports, are we able to actually turn something in so it can be on here? So like, if I give information about something, they can refer to it and.
Submit your information.
Okay.
I'm on the mayor's report. So we're finished with council reports. Let me go through this, folks. We're talking about cutting time. Most of my major activity is listed, but there are a couple of things I want to point out. The 290 and Richards Road meeting with State Representative Cecil Bell is trying to get entrance exits at the Richards Road station because we have just so much activity going on there. Congressman Michael McCall came to visit the city, just been hearing a lot about things going on in Prairie View, so he came by and we visited for quite a while, about an hour. The cricket owner was voted onto our College of Business Dean's Advisory Board, and just so happened there were some students taking a trip to the New York Stock Exchange, and he found out they were trying to raise money, and they were trying to raise $10,000, and he agreed to sponsor that trip. So the businesses coming into our city are doing and adding value. I was the chair for the Foundation University's Gala with Houston's Mayor Sylvester Turner, and the coming together of the University Alumni Foundation went very well. Mayor Turner actually asked me from the stage if I would co-host a mayor's conference coming up in April, and I'll be doing that. The grant for the $350,000 sewer upgrade in Alta Vista, the last of the contracts were signed today, So we're expecting that relining work to begin very soon. So we're excited about that. Item 6, discuss, consider, and take action to plan the city's 50th anniversary. Councilman Rowland.
For the second time, I ask that this agenda item be moved to the next meeting.
Okay. Item 7, discuss, consider, and take action on the resolution. Oh, and Councilwoman Williams, you wanted that one tabled too. Okay. Item 8, discuss, consider, and take action on an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Prairie, Texas amending Code of Ordinances to repeal and delete in its entirety Article 8.300, quote, unquote, quote, noise, close quote, of Chapter 8, quote, offenses and nuisances, close quote, adopting a new Article 8.300, quote, noise, close quote, prohibiting unreasonably loud and disturbing noise, providing penalty for each violation, and providing for severability. Councilman Jones.
I'll wait until me and Chief Jefferson, Chief Solomon could get together.
Okay, we'll table that one.
To the next meeting, or
Okay.
when?
You ready?
Well, yeah, actually, the RPO was supposed to be on today, not this one. So this one was tabled until me and the chief got together. So
There was no time.
table.
Okay. Item 9, discuss, consider, and take action on adopting permits and development process for residential services and checklists. Councilman Rowland.
Council, we adopted the commercial development process that was submitted to you. I submitted this to email to all council members. As far as the residential process, only thing I'm asking is that we approved the commercial process, that we adopt the residential process and put our city seal. So I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Randall.
I move that we adopt permit and development process for residential services and checklists.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council adopt permits and development process for residential services and checklists. You've heard the motion. Ready for the questions?
I'm ready.
Councilman Randall.
I didn't get to finish before it got second, but we have to be sure we change the letterhead to the city letterhead. That was part of
For the city of West.
Yeah, City of West and City of Prairie.
So with necessary correction, this would be the end of that motion.
Yeah, if it's adopted. Okay.
That's the end of my question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right? Ayes have it. Item 10, discuss annexing Broad Meadow Street and the general area of Pool Street. Councilwoman Williams.
So I want to table this for the next city council meeting until I speak with the attorney.
Okay. Item 11. Yes.
Ms. Woods, may you also, besides meeting with the attorney, meet with citizens from Brown Meadow, so here they, once again, their comments and concerns.
A bunch of us are here too.
I mean, I understand that they was here today, but I don't know if this was the first time that they.
I think they should have notified us this was going on even. We haven't heard a word till today.
So that's what.
Point of order.
I mean,
They can't talk
Hold on,
unless you
yeah,
call them.
Hold on, yeah, let's, hold on. No, you finish your point,
so basically, thank you.
because it's been
That's-
tabled, so.
Yeah, that's basically, I know that, Council Member Williams will do her diligence with meeting with the attorney. I was just, making a friendly statement that she has well scheduled a town hall and get out a notice, and I will assist you in any manner, to getting the notice out to, you guys, so that way we can all come to
That'd
the
be
table and have a
appreciated,
discussion.
really would.
You got it. Okay, item 11, discuss, consider, and take action on advertising for the city treasurer and city secretary vacancies. Mr. Randall.
I don't know how much discussion this meeting needs. You've been without the city secretary for 2 weeks now. And we've been without a treasurer for over a year, so I think it's just time to get the ball rolling, get fully staffed. I don't know.
Yeah. Councilman
I move that we consider and take action on advertising to fill the city treasurers and city secretary vacancies as soon as possible.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded that we discuss, consider, and take action on advertising to fill city's treasurer and city secretary vacancies as soon as possible. You've heard the motion. Ready for the questions?
I'm ready.
Councilman Randall?
Do we have any timetables when we plan on getting these advertisements out?
As soon as possible.
No. Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I think he was asking from you, what is the intent or the intention to have a job description for this posted? I know Councilman Jones have volunteered to do some job descriptions before. So if this is something that one of our councils needs to take to help bring back a job description for both the city treasurer and the city secretary and how much we're paying, we can put that on the, I mean, we've already declared it vacant, but we can come up with the job description. Is that what you need? Because
No, we've got job descriptions. And we're in the process of posting, like you said, the city secretary just 2 weeks ago, and it was abrupt. So it hadn't been posted.
city treasurer.
And the city treasurer has been, as was shared with you previously, those things were covered while we were recouping from lost funds and building up our going to flat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 12, discuss, consider, and take action on the development of a grass cutting and ditch cleaning schedule. Councilman Randall?
So, obviously, we're in a bit of an issue right now because of lawnmower.
Tractor.
Tractor. So, I think it's important, just as, you know, like street maintenance, ditch cleaning, that the city develops a schedule for each one of these entities so people know when their grass is going to be cut. So, you know, we're not cutting the same ditches. We're not fixing the same streets. We're not cutting the same grass. So we have a system in place where we're revolving throughout the city, and they won't have to call you and ask you when.
Oh, they're gonna call anyway.
But if they do, you can say, hey, it's your section's turn.
No problem. Are you gonna chair putting that
I
together?
don't mind at all.
Okay. No,
But
we
as
welcome
far
assistance.
as the ditch cleaning goes, I can definitely work on the grass cleaning, but I think the ditch cleaning needs to be done in congruence with the city engineer. I'll say that.
Well, we had a couple of quotes on some of the ditch cleaning that a couple of people called us on, and both of those quotes were in excess of $40,000, and there was nothing in the budget for that.
Right, well, the last time we did that, we paid somewhere close to the same. So the purpose of this, because I feel like the first time we clean these ditches, we're gonna have to pay a lot of, we're gonna have to pay a lump sum because we haven't done it in a long time. But what I'm saying is, whenever we get ready to do that, we need to have a system in place to where we're cleaning them regularly, so we don't have to come back in another 2 years and pay another $40,000. So this is us being proactive about fixing the finances.
Sure. Okay, you wanna make a motion to do it, or just wanna handle it?
I don't matter, I don't know if we need
No, I don't.
it's up to the council. I
I'm in full agreement with Councilman Randall, but in previous discussion with JJ before the meeting, this is just a great idea for us to come up with a tree cutting and grass cutting ordinance, because as been stated, the city is not in the business of cutting everyone's grass and things. That's such, we should only be cutting grass that is in the city right away or.
Right, that's the grass I'm referring to,
So-
is the city side of the ditches and that, so that's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to people's yards.
So I think that we should come up with because basically what we'll be doing is coming up with a policy and a schedule upon which we would like to put in place. So I'll allow Ms. Williams to say what she got to say, then put a motion on the floor for the motion.
Councilman Williams?
I just wanted to say, we also need to get with the county, because any county road that intersects a major highway is the county's responsibility. So like Wise Chapel Road, Richards Road, James Lewis Parkway, all of these roads are the responsibility of the county. And we need to put that back on the county, and we need to hold the county accountable, especially with all these taxes people are paying. So, I mean, it's only fair that they do what they're supposed to do as far as our streets are concerned, and because our neighbors and family members shouldn't be out having to cut easements and cutting the side of the roads, you know, to keep the grass down, because the county doesn't come out and do it. And I'm also looking for the document that was sent to the families on Owens Road, the Walkers, the Owens, the Williams, all got a letter from the governor at some point in time stating that the roads that were labeled county roads would never change and would always be county roads in the city of Prairie. So we're trying to find that document.
Okay. Councilman Jones.
Just to throw that back out there again, at the stadium, before I've had the opportunity to sit down, have a discussion with Ms. Yancy Scott, and the proposing of working with the mayor upon those streets and things that she talked about.
Interlocal agreement?
Yeah, the interlocal agreement for them to be able to take upon that. So what I would like to move is that, I move that Councilmember Randall and I come up with a policy upon grass cutting and ditch cleaning schedule.
It's been properly moved and seconded that Councilman Jones and Councilman Randall come upon the development of grass cutting and ditch cleaning schedule. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Could you do me a favor and email me what the current process is about when they cut grass, or if there is a current process about, like, when they go out to cut grass, and they just...
Oh, we never had a process. We
just
rotate around the city in between other jobs and work and connections and repairs and all that other stuff, but we rotate it around, but it's...
There's just nothing like said, so...
No, never had. Any other unreadiness? Yes, ma'am.
I would just like Councilman Jones and Randall don't mind to also include one of our guys from our public works, either Mr. Glover or one of the other men to work on that with them, so they can have an idea too of all the areas and.
Yeah, absolutely. We gotta have to talk to them anyway, because we don't know what they currently do, so. Definitely.
Any other unreadiness? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We will now retire into executive session for consultation with attorney as authorized by Texas Government Code, section 551.01. And personnel matters authorized by the Texas Government Code, section 551.074. Please keep it down to deliberate the employment of the following candidates for the position of city attorney: Floyd Martin Akers, Deborah S. Myrtle, Deborah Clyde Lemon, Alan P. Petrov, Charles E. Zett.
Thank you so much.